Welcome to Fans Interference, a very special edition, and you notice the Rep Your Team logo on the side of the page. That is our alternate site. Rep Your Team is coming soon, and Al Zafiri is a member of Rep Your Team. He's also a member of Rambo's Delco Radio. He is my guest, and we are breaking down the Super Bowl. Al, Broncos-Panthers, what are your thoughts about this matchup?
Well, it's going to be one of the best Super Bowls we've seen in a long time. Hard-fought Super Bowl. You got two of the greatest defenses in the NFL right now going up against each other. One of the greatest quarterbacks in the last 50 years going up against soon to be one of the greatest quarterbacks in the last 50 years.
It's the polar opposites, isn't it, Al?
Yes, and I think that's what's in the Panthers and Cam Newton's corner right now is the youth, the fire that's burning within them right now. They're just a bulldozer in the NFL and rolling over everything in front of them. And I'm hoping not, but I'm afraid that the Broncos may be the next victim on that rollover.
You know what's not youthful is Peyton Manning. And this is a guy that has had so much success throughout his career in Indianapolis and with the Broncos really for the first couple of years. And it's a little sad to see Peyton at the state, but this is a culmination of all of his success.
Yes, and once again, it's which Peyton shows up. I'm hoping Peyton Manning doesn't think, let me throw this team on my back and run with it, because right now his back is one of the few things that can handle anything. I'm hoping the smart Peyton Manning shows up, throws the smart balls, makes the smart maneuvers, and also allows his team to help him. Not just the defense, but the running game, his receivers to get him open. He has to just make the right moves, and hopefully he is healthy enough for one last game. And I hope, as a Peyton Manning fan, that this is his last game.
But that it goes out well. Imagine if he throws a pick at the end to lose the game, because it would be so hard to leave the game like that. But the guy, he is physically unable to play anymore. Like, you look at when Brett Favre retired, even Kurt Warner, those guys were physically able to compete at a high level. Peyton Manning's, it's 100% mental.
Yeah.
It's 100% before the play. He can't throw the ball 40 yards in the air anymore. I really do believe that me and you could maybe throw as far as the guy can now.
I don't want to go that far, but I mean, he came back from a bad neck injury. He continued to play. He plays a physical game that the wear and tear will run down faster than on the average man. He's admitted that he couldn't feel his hands at times during the season. I'm just hoping he's healthy enough for one game, because I fear, because, he just recently came out and said he has not made a decision on if this is his last game or not. And I fear if he loses, his legacy will be what's most important to him, and he'll continue to play a la Brett Favre.
But he had the ability to play Brett Favre.
Yeah,
and Peyton Manning was tremendous player for the Broncos and the Colts.
I mean, he's not doing it for the money. Anymore. He's not doing it for the money. One more Papa John's pizza, and he's probably a trillionaire. Or Progressive or Nationwide or whatever the heck he's doing now.
Oh yeah, he does it all.
Yeah, I mean, he has personality. He could be an analyst. He could be a great NFL, at least offensive coordinator in the beginning,
or an owner.
Two more Papa John's pizza commercials, and he can own it.
I mean, an NFL owner, but you're right. I mean, they would probably only sell Papa John's pizza at that stadium.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, I hope for his sake, as a Peyton Manning fan. And because I feel that Carolina, right now, the NFL in many cities is just decimated. I mean, not just Philadelphia, but all around the area. There's just a lot of
decimated in terms of what, talent or interest in going to the games?
Well, I mean, how many? Like, there was 7 teams looking for a new head coach. So you got a lot of learning curves going on. Mm-hmm. Chip Kelly went and destroyed one team, and he went to San Francisco.
Right.
So as far as I'm concerned, he's in a bigger hole than when he started here, because they have less talent than we did.
So you're saying Chip Kelly was so abysmal the last year that if the NFL was stockpiled with coaches, he would be left out. But there's such a it's so scarce at that position that even Chip Kelly can land. The guy went 10-6 in 2 years. So
I think
he's just as qualified as Adam Gase or Hugh Jackson, who went 8-8.
And Adam Gase was like, quote unquote, the most sought after coach during the coaching. Everybody out looking for coaches. But what do we know from him? I mean, he worked with Peyton Manning, and he would look great. Well, anybody would look great next to Peyton Manning. like I said, you don't need an offensive coordinator when you have Peyton Manning.
And that was good Peyton Manning.
Yeah, and then you're out in Chicago, and what did he do out in Chicago that really impressed anybody is beyond me.
You mean what Adam Gase did outside of Chicago?
Yeah, I still.
It was just the Peyton Manning factor. I mean, that's what you were thinking with Adam Gase.
I was hoping with the Cincinnati's defensive coordinator, I would have rather seen him running our team. Heck, I would have rather seen Lovie Smith running our team. I'm just hoping, with Philadelphia and Doug Peterson, it's not just let's try to carbon copy Andy Reid but thinner and see how this goes.
Right. We're in San Francisco. Beautiful city for the Super Bowl. The Golden Gate Bridge. The stadium's like an hour away.
Yes.
That's what's kind of hysterical. It's like in Philadelphia where fans interference airs, it's like the show being like in Allentown or like an hour and a half away. I cannot believe Niners fans. I feel bad for them that they have to travel.
I'll tell you, I've been to many cities outside of Philadelphia, following the Eagles around, and we have one of the better sports areas in our city. You've been in New York a few times, and I'm sorry, that's like a funnel from hell getting in and out of there.
You mean like the parking and going through you ever walk through that tunnel in New York?
Between the parking, the way people tailgate is completely different. Not just in New York, but in general.
The Giants and Jets tailgates are not terrible, but in order to pay for the parking tickets, that is it's not that accessible.
Yeah. I mean,
it's hard to tailgate effectively.
And I could be being biased, and I've done it more often, but I feel it's of multiple. I've probably been to almost every stadium in the country at this point in my life, and I can honestly say. Whereas Philadelphia is one of the easier cities to get in and out, and I think it's just an open area and it's just better. Being an hour away would make things a lot difficult to go to a game.
Well, the move is you stay Monday to Friday out in San Fran. You hit up the clubs, and I hear that San Francisco is a city that has a lot of technology. Like you have the
Silicon
Twitter
Valley
headquarters, and it's a very I guess a liberal or very fast-moving kind of pace. So you stay there, you check out all the sites, you ride the trolley. Then on Saturday night, you have to leave to go to Santa Clara, probably stay at a hotel. That's what people are probably doing.
Well, here's another thing. We were talking about tailgating. I love tailgating, and drinking and driving an hour home isn't easy. Not that drinking and driving.
Right. And especially, you go to Eagles games. At the end of Eagles games this year, you might want to drink late in the game.
I could take a $12 Uber ride back to
Yingling or Uber.
Yeah, both. I could take an Uber ride back to where I live for $12 to $15 an hour. That might as well rent a couple hotel rooms.
Right, you got to let the beer kind of syndicate. Well, we talked a lot about the drinking and the tailgating aspect. Let's talk a little X's and O's here. We're here with Al Zafiri from Rambo Delco Radio for Denver to win this game. What do they have to do? Do they have to not turn the ball over, play conservative offensively, defensively? You think they're going to have success? I mean, what is the blueprint for the Broncos?
Number one is they got to come out strong. Yes, turnovers will kill them, especially in the first half. If you come out and you allow them to get a couple turnovers in the first half, they're all but done at that point. You have to hope that the smart Peyton Manning comes in, knows his weaknesses and his strengths, allows his team to help him out, not take the whole game on his back and run with it, worrying about Peyton Manning's legacy and worrying about the Denver Broncos winning a Super Bowl.
Right, so don't just throw him 40 times because, hey, Peyton, this is your last time. Have fun,
Exactly. And like I said, you got to come out strong and keep it a close game. They don't have to win the first half, but they can't let it get away with them because once you dig a medium-sized hole with Carolina, you might as well dig 6 feet down and call it a day.
I think you can turn Cam Newton over if you pressure him, and you have to hit low on a guy that's 6'6". You have to throw blitzes and play aggressively. You have to stuff the run. If you hit Cam Newton early, let him know you're there. Try to get turnovers. Try to win the first half like 10-7. Be under control. Show poise. When Peyton Manning fumbled against Seattle, I almost knew that the game would be very hard from that point. They had to then punt the ball back to Seattle. It was a snowball. You cannot let it snowball versus Carolina.
No,
you have to get up early.
He definitely has to go back and watch those Seattle Super Bowl 2 years ago.
That's going to be rough.
And watch it and see that is the key thing. Do not let it get away from you because playing catch up against Carolina and Cam Newton, will be the
punting is okay.
I would rather punt than turnovers, yes.
Punting is okay. 3 and outs are fine. They have to really protect Peyton and give him time. It's hard because if they could run the ball, that's the perfect formula to control the game, take clock off, dominate in the trenches, and then play action with Peyton. Unfortunately, Carolina is so stout defensively. I think Carolina, the reason we're not talking about the strategies for Carolina is I personally have them winning this game because I don't see Peyton Manning having the ability to hurt Carolina.
I think it's a heart
and Carolina
for Peyton, but your mind's telling you logically Carolina's going to win this one.
You want to see Peyton win because it's his last game ever. And
Hopefully.
for Cam Newton and the Panthers, they look like a dominant team that could be in the NFC title game for years to come.
Years to come. As long as they have smart ownership and they can learn to keep their good players and work out salary caps and all that. Because, like I said, you've seen other teams like Seattle and other ones where you lose some of their key players because you have to pay the right people and not pay the others.
Exactly. You see great teams come apart. We're going to get to predictions here. 30 seconds left in this podcast. Thanks again, Al, for joining us here. Fans Interference, special guest to the studio of G here. What is your final score for this game?
In my heart, 27-20 Broncos, but in my mind, it's 27-20 Panthers.
All righty. You know what? I'm going to hold off on my thought, even though I alluded to Carolina having a decent chance of winning. So, Denver fans, you still have a short slimmer of hope. We're going to be back and do some more vids. Al Zafiri, it was a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Take care, guys.